Hello everyone, welcome back to the NABARD Grade A exam preparation series. So today we are here with the topic evolution of agriculture. Why we have choose this topic? As we are preparing for NABARD Grade A exam, so ARD section is highly scoring subject of this exams. ARD, agriculture and rural development. So as we are going to start the ARD section, we should know everything about the agriculture, like how it came into existence and how it evolved over the period of time. So in this section, in this lecture, we will cover all the important facts that are related to evolution of agriculture. We are here, we will cover prehistoric period, your Neolithic age, what kind of evolution happened in that era. From the prehistoric to present scenario, we will talk about in detail, right? So let's start with the prehistoric period. In the beginning, humans didn't know how to grow crops, right? The people moved from one place to other place in search of food. They were hunter and gatherers, right? The lifestyle of humans at the time was called as hunters and gatherers. Also they were known as nomadic people, right? As they moved from one place to other place for the food, so they were hunter and gatherers. This means they got their food by hunting wild animals, collecting fruits, eating wild animals or wild plants, right? They didn't know how to live in one place permanently. They moved from one place to another place in search of food and water. That is why their life was mainly nomadic, right? So how did agriculture begin? The question comes in our mind, right? So slowly humans started observing nature carefully. They noticed that when seed fell in the wet soil, after some time new plants grew from these seeds. They understood that plant could be grown from the seeds. They also learned that some animal could be kept and domesticated. As we know that dog was the first domesticated animal, right? So domestication of animals began in this period. This was very important change in human life. Humans slowly started growing plants, keeping animals, producing their own food. This was the beginning of agriculture. But if we talk about prehistoric period, the domestication of animals began, but the growing crops were started in Neolithic period. That is not happened in prehistoric period. In this period, people were only hunters and gatherers. Now let's move to the next. So now let's talk about Neolithic age. What is Neolithic? Neo means new and lithic means stone. So this is also called as Neolithic age. This period is termed as the beginning of agriculture. Right. After the prehistoric period came the Neolithic age. Neolithic age, this period is very important because agriculture developed during this time. Right. The development of agriculture and animal domestication is known as the Neolithic revolution. Right. Humans slowly changed from food gatherers to food producer. Food gatherers to food producer. Right. Earlier they collected food from nature. Now they started producing their own food by growing crops and keeping animals. So agriculture was not a one day thing. This process started by observing nature, right? This started gradually and the process was gradual, not one day process. Agriculture brought a big change in human life. Earlier, humans moved from one place to another place, but after they started farming, they began to stay in one place. This was because they needed to take care of their crops and animals. Right? The later Neolithic period gradually became agriculturist. Right? As food production increased, the population also started increasing. Permanent settlement and village developed, right? People also started doing different types of works, like some became farmers while other made tools. Tools were used at that time of bones and stone tools, right? People started doing work of pottery and other useful things. So agriculture became the foundation for the development of human civilization, right? So according to archaeological evidence, Mehergarh was the first site that has the evidence of wheat and barley cultivation, right? If we talk about present day, the site is located in Balochistan, right? So they the people in Neolithic age, they started domesticating sheep, goat and cattle, right? So in the Indian continent subcontinent, one of the most important early farming site is Mehergarh, as I have told you, right? Mehergarh is located in present day where? Balochistan. This is located in Balochistan. Right, archaeological evidence from Mehergarh shows early farming and animal domestication. Wheat and barley were grown there. Animals like, as I have told you, sheep, goat, and cattle were also domesticated. Therefore, Mehergarh is one of the earliest farming site in the Indian subcontinent. Right. So, why is the Neolithic Revolution important? The Neolithic Revolution completely changed human life. Right, right from hunting and gathering to food producing, domesticating animals, and permanent settlement, like population growth and development of civilization. All of these things leads to development of civilizations. So agriculture was not only about growing crops, it changed the complete lifestyle of humans. It helped humans settle down and build communities. Later these communities developed into villages, towns, and civilization. Right. So uh, let's quickly revise the important points. Like early humans were mainly hunters and gatherers, as we have learned in prehistoric period. Right, they gradually learned to grow plants and domesticate animals. Now in Neolithic age, agriculture developed significantly. Right, the development of agriculture and animal domestication is also called as Neolithic Revolution. Mehergarh is one of the earliest farming site in the Indian subcontinent. Important early crops included wheat and barley. Right? Wheat and barley. Important domesticated animals included sheep, goat, and cattle. So the evolution of agriculture started with a very simple change. First, humans were food gatherers. Then they learned to produce their own food. They become food producer. They started growing crops and domesticated animals. This led to permanent settlement and the development of villages. And finally, agriculture became one of the most important foundation of human civilization. Right? So that is all about Neolithic age. So now after Neolithic age, let's discuss about the Indus Valley civilization. It is also known as Harappan civilization. Why the name Indus Valley civilization was given to this? Because people started living near the Indus River. That is why the civilization was termed as Indus Valley civilization. As we know that we have learned and studied about it in class 6th, but here we will cover only agriculture part, right? So the Indus Valley civilization developed around 2400 before Christ era. Right. It was developed around 2500 before Christ era and covered a large area of present day India and Pakistan. The civilization had well planned cities, houses, drainage system, trade networks, and developed agricultural practices. Agriculture was backbone of Harappan economy. Right. But how did agriculture help these cities to grow? Let's understand. Agriculture was the main economic activity. Right. The people grew different crops and used fertile land near rivers. The Indus River and its tributaries played an important role in the development of agriculture. The river provided water and floods deposited fertile soil on the land. The fertile soil was called alluvial soil. Right? Alluvial soil. This is fertile in nature. Right? So, alluvial soil is the soil that deposited by rivers. When a river flows, it carries small particles of soil and minerals. During floods, the river spread over nearby land. When the flood water goes down, it leaves these soil particles behind. This makes the land fertile and suitable for agriculture. Right. The fertile river plains were therefore very important for the development of agriculture in the Indus Valley civilization. Major crops of Indus Valley civilization: wheat, barley, peas, sesame, mustard, and dates. The one of the important crop, that is cotton. Indus Valley people were among the first cotton growers in the world. Right? In Indus Valley civilization, that is especially important in the history of cotton because it provides some of the earliest evidence of cotton cultivation and use in the Indian subcontinent. Cotton was important for making textiles. Right? Now let's talk about an important archaeological site that is called as Kalibangan, as we can see on the screen. Right. Kalibangan is located in present day Rajasthan. Where? Rajasthan. It is located in Rajasthan. Evidence of plowed field was found at this site. Right. The field had two sets of furrows crossing each other. This suggests that the farmer may used a method in which different crops were planted in different direction. Right, this is the important fact for agriculture exam. Kalibangan was the evidence of plowed fields. Right, this shows that the two crops were grown together. Right, then comes your Lothal dockyard, shows advanced water management and trade related to agriculture produce and other goods. Right, evidence of dockyard was found in Lothal. The location is in Gujarat. Right, and then Harappan granary. Large granaries have been found at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro for storage of surplus grains. What is surplus? Surplus is your remaining food after consumption. Right. Now let's understand. For example, suppose a farmer produces 100 kg of wheat. Right. If his family needs only 6 kg, then the remaining 40 kg is your surplus. Right. This extra food can be stored or exchanged. Why was surplus food important for the Indus Valley civilization? Because not everyone had to work as a farmer. Some people could become potters, metal workers, traders, builders, craftsmen, and administrator. Farmer produced food and surplus food helped support these people. Right? So, what is food granary? Granaries that can be used to store the food so that food can be used for the future use and kept away from moisture also. Right? So this is all about the Indus Valley civilization. Factors, what are the factors that make it advanced? There are many factors like successful farming, as people started living near the Indus River where they found the fertile soil that can be helpful for the healthy that can be helpful for the development of crops. They used wells, reservoirs, rainwater harvesting for irrigation. They used advanced tools of wood, stone, bronze, copper, and food granaries, food surplus, and they do trade. Right. So this is all about the agriculture also supported trade. When farmer produced surplus food and other foods or goods, these could be exchanged. The Harappans had trade network within the civilization and with other regions. They traded different products and raw material. Trade helped cities and town to grow. Now let's understand the complete connection between agriculture and civilization. First, farmer grew crops. Good agriculture production resulted in extra or surplus food. Right? The surplus food was stored in storage facilities like food granaries. The stored food helps support farmers as well as people involved in other occupation. Also, we can say that the food granaries, as we store the food, that ensure the food security as well as the surplus food can be also used in trade. Right, this led to division of labor. People started specialized in different jobs like crafts and trade developed, towns and cities grew, a complex civilization developed. So agriculture was not only about growing crops, it played a major role in supporting the growth of civilization and cities. So this is all about Indus Valley civilization. So now let's talk about Vedic period, agriculture in Vedic period. As Vedic period has been divided into two parts, one is early Vedic period and the second one is later Vedic period. Right, so, in early Vedic period, during this period, cattle rearing and pastoralism was very important. Right? People were dependent on cattle rearing. What is pastoralism? That means a way of life mainly dependent on livestock. Cattle were considered as a major form of wealth. Cows provided milk and other products, while oxen and bullocks could be used for agriculture work and transport. Agriculture also existed during this period, but people mainly dependent on cattle rearing. One important crop mentioned in the Rig Veda was Yava. That is Yava. This period is also called as Rigvedic period. Right? Rigvedic period. And this period placed around 1500 to 1000 BCE. So this is all about early Vedic period where people depended on cattle rearing. Right? But if we talk about later Vedic period, during this period, agriculture became much more important. People started living near the Ganga Yamuna plains, where fertile land supported cultivation. The increased use of iron tools. Iron tools were introduced in later Vedic period. These tools helped in clearing forest and preparing land for agriculture. Iron tools such as axes, iron axe, or iron plows were used. That would be helpful in cultivation. As agriculture expanded, people became more settled. So rice also become increasingly important during this period. So let's do a quick revision. If we talk about early Vedic period, people mainly dependent on cattle rearing. Right, cattle were an important form of wealth. Yava or barley, we can say, was an important crop. Right, northwestern region was covered in early Vedic period. Now, if we talk about later Vedic period, agriculture became more important. Expansion towards Ganga Yamuna region, increasing use of iron tools. As iron tools introduced in later Vedic period, rice became increasingly important. Permanent settlement in villages expanded, surplus production increased in later Vedic period. So this was an important stage in evolution of agriculture in ancient India as iron tools were introduced, right? So this is all about Vedic period. Let's now move ahead to the Mauryan Empire, how agriculture evolved in this era. This was termed as the beginning of organized agriculture administration. Why this is called so? Just because agriculture received for the first time government support here in this period. Right, land revenue was the principal source of income for the states. The farmer has to pay the 1/6 of their produce as a bhag to the state in terms of tax, we can say. In return, kings must protect and promote agriculture. The king is duty bounded to encourage cultivation, safeguard farmers, and ensure agricultural prosperity for stability of the realm. Right, agriculture is the main source of wealth in Mauryan Empire, right? And if we talk about superintendent of agriculture, that was known as Sitadhyaksha. That is a state official appointed to oversee farming, land measurement, seed supply, labor, and crop collection. Acts as an administrator of agricultural activities. Who is the administrator of agricultural activity? That was known as the Sitadhyaksha at that time, right? State also constructed irrigation system like canals, dams, and wells. Sudarshana Lake irrigation project was developed during this period, and later it was improved in Gupta period. Right, in Gupta period in the reign of Skandagupta. Right. So the tax was collected from the farmer as 1/6 of their produce, right, to the state as a bhag, that is called as bhag. Emphasizes on crop diversity. There are also crop diversification like rice, wheat, barley were grown. Use of iron tools and plows. Importance of rainfall measurement and famine relief. Meteorological observation and rainfall measurements were recorded. State maintained granaries and relief works during the famine and drought. So this is all about the Mauryan Empire. After the ancient period, agriculture continued to develop during the medieval period also. One of the most important development was expansion of irrigation, right? Expansion of irrigation, construction of canals, tanks, wells, and step wells. Also, as you can see here, this is called as a Persian wheel. At that period, this was termed as called as Rahat. That was used to lift the groundwater from wells for irrigation, right? So this is called as the Persian wheel. During this period, crops like wheat, rice, barley, sugarcane, cotton, and indigo were cultivated. A major development was the introduction or arrival of new crops after the arrival of Portuguese, that are potato, tomato, chili, maize, and tobacco. Right. So Persian wheel that was used for water lifting for irrigation. In Mughal period, agriculture was the main economic activity. Cash crops were introduced like sugarcane, indigo also. New world crops like maize, potato, tomato, chili, tobacco introduced after the arrival of Portuguese here. So this is all about the medieval period if we talk about. So now let's move ahead and understand what happened to Indian agriculture during British period. Before British period, farmers mainly grow crops for their own consumption. What kind of crops they grow? They grow food crops, right? Before British rule, people were involved in subsistence farming. That means they mainly grow food crops for their own consumption, right? But when the British established their rule in India, the agriculture system gradually started changing. They were not about to develop our agricultural system. They were just to loot, and they were just to collect the more revenue and obtain raw material for their industries. That was the main reason behind these changes. So let's understand this step by step. Let's first understand the land revenue system that was settled by the British. First of all, the British introduced different systems to collect land revenue from the farmers. The three important systems were, these were permanent system, that is also known as zamindari system, and then rayatwari system and mahalwari system. What has happened in permanent settlement, that was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, right? That was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, mainly in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. Right. Under this system, zamindars were responsible for collecting revenue from farmers and paying it to the British government. Right. Zamindar acts like intermediator. Zamindar were acts like intermediator between farmer and Britishers. Right. Britishers. Zamindar took the land revenue from farmer and they give it back to the Britishers. Right. Then came to the Rayotwari system. This system. Here's the government collected revenue directly from the farmers. The role of zamindar was discarded. Right. And the third one is Mahalwari system. What has happened here? Under this system, revenue was collected from the village or Mahal. Mahal means village or as a unit. The revenue was collected as a unit. Now, what was the problem with this system? The land revenue demanded was often very high. The demand was high. Farmers were expected to pay revenue even when their crops failed due to drought and many other factors. So, what happened? Many farmers had to borrow money from moneylender to pay the revenue. And if they were not able to pay the revenue, they lose their land. Right? And slowly, farmer indebtedness became a major problem. And the second problem is industrial revolution and commercialization of agriculture. Now, there is one very important connection we need to understand: the Industrial Revolution, the commercialization of agriculture. During British period, after Industrial Revolution, Britain needs more raw material for industries, for their textile industries. Then British rulers in India, they forced people to grow cash crops like indigo, cotton, jute, and opium so that they can export these raw material to Britain. Factories started using machines and producing goods on a very large scale. The textile industries was one of the most important industries during this period. But as factories needed more raw material, and India became very important for the to grow the cash crops. So the Britishers encouraged Indian farmers to grow, or forced farmers to grow these crops, which would be sold in domestic and international market at low price. This led to a major change in Indian agriculture called commercialization of agriculture, where people not only grow food crops for their own consumption, they grow cash crops to sell in the market. Right. Now, uh, let's talk about the cash crops like cotton that was required by the British textile industries. Right. Cotton. If we talk about indigo, indigo was used for producing blue dye. Right. Jute was used for making bags, ropes, and other industrial products. If we talk about opium, that was exported to particularly to China. And plantation crops such as tea, coffee, and rubber also expanded in this era. So we can remember the connection like this. After industrial revolution in Britain, factories grow, that increase demand for raw material, and more cash crop cultivation forced by the British rulers in India, and this leads to the commercialization of Indian agriculture. But there was another side to the story. In some areas, farmers were encouraged or forced to grow cash crop instead of food crops, as I've told you before. This could affect food production and food security also. For example, the exploitation of indigo farmers led to famous indigo revolt, indigo revolt, right, of 1859 to 60 in Bengal. So commercialization increased the connection between Indian agriculture and international markets, but it also made farmers more dependent on market prices. Right? What was the impact of railways and roads in agriculture? Now, if we talk about this, you may wonder, what do railways have to do with the agriculture? Actually, a lot. Why? Before railways, transporting agriculture products over long distance was difficult and expensive. With the expansion of railways, agriculture goods could be transported more easily from village to town, cities, and ports. For example, commercial crops like cotton, right, and jute, if we talk about jute, could be transported to ports and exported easily. So railways helped connected farmers with the larger markets. But remember, the British did not develop railways only for farmers. They also wanted to transport raw material from India to ports, move British manufactured goods into Indian markets, support their administrative and military needs. So they were only here for the loot. They were not about to develop our agriculture system. They were only for the reason they want more raw material and they want more revenue. Development of irrigation, they also developed canals, dams, and reservoirs. Right. One important example is the Upper Ganga Canal that was opened in 1854. Right. Other canal systems were also developed in different parts of North India and Punjab. These irrigation projects helped bring more land under cultivation and reduce dependence on rainfall in some regions. So irrigation was one of the important development that contributed to the expansion of agriculture during British period. And if we talk about agriculture research and education, so this is the important development was the beginning of organized agriculture research. The Imperial Agriculture Research Institute IARI was established at Pusa, Bihar in 1905. Agriculture research gradually focused on areas such as crop improvement, soil management, and better farming practices. Agriculture department and agricultural education also started developing. So, although agriculture research was still at an early stage during British rule, it later became an important foundation for India's agricultural development. It was shifted to New Delhi in 1934 after the British earthquake, where it was known as the Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Right. Now let's understand what was the impact of World War on agriculture, Indian agriculture. Right. So now let's talk about First World War that has happened between 1914 to 1918. Right. During the war, Britain needed a lot of food and raw materials, so the demand for Indian agriculture product increased. Because demand increased, the prices of many crops also went up. But at the same time, the prices of daily use items also started rising. So farmers might earn more from selling their crops, but ordinary people also had to spend more money to buy the essential goods. Then after the First World War came a major economic crisis that was called as Great Depression of 1929. This time the situation became the opposite. What happened? The prices of agriculture crops fell sharply, right? For example, a farmer who has borrowed money to grow cotton, right? Earlier he was expecting to sell his cotton at a good price, but suddenly the prices falls. Now he earns less money, but he still has to repay his loan. So many farmers became poor and heavily indebted, right? They comes under debt. Then comes Second World War that has happened in 1913 to 1915. World War II happened between 1913 to 1945. During the war, there was a lot of pressure on the economy. How? The demand for food and raw material increased, but at the same time, there was shortage, rising prices, and problems in transporting and distributing food. Now think about a poor family. If the price of rice suddenly becomes very high, but the family income doesn't increase, then may not be able to buy enough rice. So even if food is present somewhere in the market, the family may still go hungry because they cannot afford it. This is where the concept of food security becomes important. Food security doesn't simply mean that food is available in the country. It means that people should have enough food, should be able to get it, and should be able to afford it, right? What is the meaning of security? Food security, that means it doesn't mean that food is available in the country. That should be available and affordable for each and every people of the country. During the Second World War, these problems became extremely serious in Bengal. This leads to the Bengal famine in 1943, right? A combination of wartime problems, rising prices, food supply and distribution issues, and people's reduced ability to buy food created a severe food crisis, right? Millions of people died. During the British rule, India experienced several severe famines, and these famines were not caused only by a single reason. There were many reasons behind it, like dropped or crop failure, poverty, high land revenue, indebtedness, commercialization of agriculture, inflation. Right. So the most famous famine was 1943 Bengal famine. What is famine? Famine means where a large number of people do not have food, enough food for a long period of time. That may leads to severe hunger. That may leads to severe hunger, malnutrition, right, and death also. That is your famine. The reason behind these famines were, like, if we talk about World War II, that is also a reason behind Bengal famine, right? During the Second World War, what was happened? Bengal faced a severe food crisis, a combination of factors, including problems with rice production, as Burma imported resources of rice for Bengal that came under Japanese control, rise in food prices, right? Supply and distribution disrupt, and the decline in people's purchasing power made the situation extremely serious at the time. So if we want to understand in the simple words, like, food crisis was not just about how much food was available. It was about whether people could access and afford that food, right? Food crisis, that was not just about how much food is available. That is about how much people can access, or how much they can afford. Millions of people died during the famine, making it one of the most tragic event of the British period, that is your Bengal famine 1943. Right. During the British period, India's food security was weak. When crops failed, farmers were already poor and often in debt. Problem with food distribution, high prices, and low purchasing power made it difficult for ordinary people to get food. When such a crisis became widespread and caused severe hunger and large scale death, it was called a famine. Right. So ha- there we can see that how World War and other factors like land revenue systems that introduced by the Britishers, that also have impact on Indian agriculture, that leads to economic shocks and food crisis that ultimately lead to famine, right? So what happened during World War? As we have discussed earlier, due to World War, there was a condition of inflation, shortage and problem in supply and distribution of essential goods. So when prices rise sharply, poor people are affected the most because their income doesn't increase. At the same time, the prices for essential goods were rises. So this brings to the question of food security also, right? So these all are the factors that have more impact on the Indian agriculture, right?